The Flash is an amazing character, and one of the most well-known and actually most powerful heroes that exist. His powers allow him to bend both space and time, so that he can travel at super speeds. He can also time travel, and he can open up portals to other dimensions. He has a host of amazing abilities, and they are great to read about and to watch in TV and films, or to even just play as the Flash in different video games. But all of these are fantasy devices. They're designed to give a person a little escape from reality and allow them to have some fun. But in reality, the powers that the Flash has, unfortunately, don't exist. But even if they did, they would not work in the same way as they do in media. And this video is going to go over 5 different reasons that the Flash's superpowers wouldn't work in the real world. Time travel. Now, the Flash can travel through time, and I think we can all go with that quite easily, because time travel is a power that's existed in science fiction for quite a while, so I can believe that he can travel through time. But how does he control it? Does running forwards in time send him to the future? And then does he have to run backwards when he's going to the past? And how does he control how far back in time he goes? All we ever see is him running and somehow ending up in the right place. But how does he get the right day, the right month, or even the right year? Now, I can accept that he can open portals and time travel, sure, but he never does any navigation at all. I mean, when you leave your home, do you just move forwards and hope you end up where you want to be? No, you have to navigate the world around you and head where you need to go. You have to turn at the right places, get on a bus, get off that bus, get in a car, just get on a train. If you need to go anywhere, you have to plan it and you have to walk where you need to go. You can't just walk forwards with your eyes closed and hope you'll end up in the right place. And that is the same with time travel. Without any guidance, a person would just be randomly flung into the time stream, and God alone knows where they would end up. Now, in the comics, this does actually make a bit more sense, as the Flash has a cosmic treadmill, which does sound a bit silly, I know, but using it, he's able to accurately travel through time, because the treadmill allows him to focus in on a specific time period. But in a lot of the films and TV shows, he doesn't have this treadmill at all. I mean, admittedly, like I said, it does sound a bit silly, so people kind of scrap the idea. But the problem is that without it, how on earth does he get to the right time? It just doesn't make any sense. The shockwave. When an object is moving fast enough, it creates a kind of shockwave of force. Now, in its lower forms, this is like you moving your arm quickly in front of you, and then you can feel the air move with your hand. But the faster you go, the faster and larger the shockwave becomes. And if you break the sound barrier, which the Flash frequently does, then there's a sonic boom, and an even greater shockwave that would blast everything around you. And there is no way to get rid of this shockwave, which means that whenever the Flash runs at these super speeds, he would destroy buildings, rip up plants, and the humans around him would be pushed backwards at best, and at worst, thrown clean across the room or high up into the air. And all of this basically means that the Flash can't just super speed away from a room with several people in it. Because if he did actually super speed out of a room, like he frequently does on the TV show, then the shockwave he would give off would be like punching these people in the face, and most likely it would throw them into the wall and injure them quite badly. So the end result of this is that the Flash would have to constantly be slowing down, because if he did run around at the speeds he does on TV shows and in movies, then he would cause an extreme amount of collateral damage. Calorie intake. Now, while the Flash does have super endurance and super stamina, it has been made abundantly clear that he still needs to eat. And he needs to eat a lot. And he needs to eat it constantly. Now, on the Flash TV show, they do give him special high-calorie food to make sure he's got enough. And the Flash actually says at one point,
I have to consume about 10,000 calories a day.
Which is just ridiculous. 10,000 calories wouldn't be anywhere near enough. Athletes have 10,000 calories a day easy, and they're just running around at normal speeds training. But to break the sound barrier, you need a hell of a lot more calories. We'd be talking hundreds of thousands at least, and most likely millions for the higher speeds he runs. Now, in the comics, he actually says at one point that he needs to eat 50 times his own body weight every day. Now, the exact weight of the Flash isn't clear. After all, there's been many different actors and different incarnations, so his weight does fluctuate. But on DC Wikia, it says that the Flash's weight is 88 kilograms. So we're going to use that as our example for this video. So if we take 88 kilograms and times it by 50, then the Flash would need to eat 4,400 kilograms a day. and that's about 9,700 pounds a day. Now, I can't say exactly how many calories that is, but the average person eats around 4 pounds of food a day, which equates to them having 2,000 calories a day. So if we divide that by 4, that means that 1 pound equals 500 calories. And 500 times 9,700 pounds is 4,859,000 calories a day, which is as much food as the average person eats in a little over 6 years. So every day, the Flash has to eat as much food as you or I would eat in 6 years. Though that is assuming that our diets are 2,000 calories a day. Obviously that fluctuates depending on how much we eat. But even if you took it down a little to 5 years to accommodate how much you could eat, that's 5 years worth of food. And not only is that amount of food enormous, but the bill for it would be in the millions each week, which just isn't practical to maintain, especially on a forensic scientist's salary. Now, I do have to say that I'm not a dietitian or a doctor, and if there are any dietitians or doctors watching this, and you think that I've worked this out wrong, then please feel free to let us know in the comments. But for now, we're going to be working under the assumption that the information I have is correct. And there is no way he could physically eat this much food. 6 years worth of food every day. His mouth, stomach and digestive tract can only digest and absorb so many nutrients a day. And yes, I know that the Flash's stomach is sped up, so it can absorb more, that is true. But he'd still be constantly eating, and I mean eating literally all day long. He'd never be able to stop. Even when he's running around fighting supervillains, he'd still need to be constantly eating. Because when he's moving at super speed, if he doesn't make sure to have enough snacks on him during the run, he would pass out from lack of food, as he'd be burning through energy faster than he can replace it. Not to mention how much water he'd need to drink a day just to stay conscious. Navigation. Now, we all slip or skid or simply just trip up when we're walking, and usually it's not that big a deal and it's not that painful. But if you're travelling at twice the speed of sound and you trip, then you are dead. The force of hitting something solid at that speed would literally rip your body apart. It'd be like being hit by a train. Now, to be fair, the Flash does have a Speed Force aura around him, and what this means is that he's got a special sort of bubble around him that's designed to protect his body from the extreme speeds that he travels at. But this aura can be broken through, and yes, it will protect the Flash to a certain degree, but if the Flash hits a wall at say Mark 3, well, there's no protective barrier that can stop that kind of force. And although the Flash does have a pretty good healing factor that's able to repair most damage, in fact he actually has his back broken once on the TV show, and he's able to get back to 100% completely healed in just a couple of weeks. But unfortunately this healing factor doesn't regenerate limbs, so if the Flash lost say an arm or a leg, he would be screwed, and if he lost his head, well then he'd be 6 feet under. And if he hit another person while running at this speed, then they would be 100% dead. And I know that the Flash can navigate at super speeds, so normally he'd be fine. But everyone slips or trips up at some point. I mean, the Flash only has to turn his head to look at something and then bam, he hits someone or something. And whatever he hits, he is going to cause some serious damage to it and the environment around him. And I do have to say that the Flash is lucky to have this Speed Force aura, because his powers wouldn't work without it. Say he was running at his top speed without this aura, then not only would his clothes rip off and fly away, but his skin would literally ignite due to the friction with Earth's atmosphere. Phasing. Now, in real life, the Flash phasing his molecules just wouldn't work. The idea is that he's able to vibrate his molecules and then move them through the empty spaces in objects so that he can phase through them. Now, if you don't understand how that works, don't worry, because it's not really important. Because if a person did this for real, it would almost certainly kill them, as an object or person can't really vibrate through each other, and even if they did, they would warp and destroy both of them, because all the energy in between those molecules would rip it all apart. In fact, the Flash actually has used it before to make objects explode. But we'll ignore all of that for now, and say that yes, somehow the Flash can vibrate through objects and not die. But it still wouldn't work because of a little thing called gravity. If the Flash vibrated his molecules, he would just be pulled down by gravity and vibrate through the floor. And unless he stopped vibrating, then gravity would just keep on pulling him until he reached the centre of the Earth. And this is exactly what would happen, because we've clearly seen that gravity is working on the Flash when he phases. We know this because if gravity wasn't affecting him, then he wouldn't be able to stay on the planet's surface, as he would literally just fly off into the air with the force of him running. So this power just wouldn't work in the real world, because the Flash would either die when he attempted to do it, or he'd succeed and then he'd be pulled down into the Earth's core. Now I don't know if he could survive down there, but even if he could, he'd probably go insane. But most likely the forces at the Earth's core and the extreme heat would just kill him. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that I'm being quite a buzzkill right now, and that I must hate superheroes and hate superpowers. But in fact, it's the exact opposite. I love the idea of superpowers, and I do like the Flash's character, and this video isn't meant to ruin the character for anyone. I still watch the Flash in media and read his comics, and you can still enjoy them when you know the points I've listed. This video is just a serious look at why the Flash's powers wouldn't work in our world, and that's all. But what do you think of this list? Do you agree with the reasons I've listed? And are there any other reasons you can think of that the Flash's powers just wouldn't work in real life? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and I'd just like to say a quick thank you to those who made this video possible by donating to the Needlemass Productions page on Patreon. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.